Hey guys, welcome to Boudoir and Beyond, the podcast where we explore all things boudoir, sexual pleasure, and photography. I'm your host, Ariana, and in each episode, we'll discuss all the latest trends, share insights, and answer all of your pressing questions. So join me as we delve into this intimate world and expand our knowledge and desires. Let's get started. So on today's episode, I have one of my favorite people in the world.
Oh.
This is Lady Laww. She is a model and she also does microblading, which she actually did mine. So little flex there.
Yummy.
But I will put her Instagram handle for you guys so that you guys can go ahead and follow her. But today's topic is, can men and women be friends? Just friends. And I wanted to bring her on because she has some great insight. I'm going to go ahead and start with you telling me what you think before we dive into what everybody else has said.
Okay.
So go ahead and answer the question for me. Do you think?
So for me personally, I do believe that this has layers. So I do think that they can be just friends. But like I said, there's layers to it. So I think that if you, like, I'm married, right? So my husband, if he has like friends that he's been friends with for years before we were even together, yeah, like I'm not gonna come in and, can I say fuck? Fuck up the relationship. But I definitely think that if he were to go into work and then was like, oh yeah, I met this girl today. No, immediately no.
Immediately
no. But also, like, I'll hear him out, but I just see, like, there's layers. Like, I do think that it's possible, but if you're mature and, like, you have communication, comprehend each other, because I do believe you can have communication but not understand what someone is saying.
Right.
So I definitely think that is important.
Yeah. I definitely think there's a fine line when it comes to this. And it's been so interesting to see what other people have had to say, because I've gotten a lot of both. And I obviously did save several of the things that people said. So I'm going to go ahead and read them to you. And I want you to just tell me what you think based off of what they've said.
Perfect.
And obviously I'll give my insight too. But okay, so this first one says, I think it really depends. In my personal history, any male that I have been friends with has at some point or another tried to sleep with me. I feel like women have the ability to be men's friends, but men don't have ability to be women's friends because, big head, little head power dynamic.
Yeah. I understand that as well. Because, I've had multiple times, and I'm sure, like, every girl has, where they had, like, their one guy friend or multiple, but, like, found one of them is for sure going to tell you, like, oh, yeah, so, like, I wish you, like, gave me a chance. Like, no, don't ruin that friendship. Like, trust me, if I felt those feelings, I would have expressed them.
Yes, yeah.
And, not every girl is going to be, like, if they end up having feelings, like, they're not going to, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I think it's so funny because, like, in movies, they always will portray, like, this friendship.
Yes.
And then they're like, oh, like, if we never get married or whatever, let's us be the ones that get together when we're older. And I just think I'm like, why would you drag that? Like,
do it now. Don't be a pussy. Do it now.
Okay. So this next one says, yes, I'm standing in my best friend's wedding on the guy's side in September. We've been best friends for 15 years.
Oh.
Never once thought about hooking up or caught feelings. It's 100% platonic. One of our rules when we started dating people was that they had to accept our friendship.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's fair.
That's valid. For sure valid. Because, my husband has a best friend that he's had since kindergarten. And, I knew coming into the relationship that that's going to be one of his best friends. And then nothing. Trust me, I have asked, like, have you guys made out?
Yeah.
Do I have to know?
Like,
I don't want to look stupid. And he's like, no, like, we've always been like brother-sister relationship. So I do think it's possible, but you also have to just
communicate.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's going to keep going back to that.
Yeah. So this person said no. Someone has feelings and the other one is friend zoning. It never fails. And I'm like, ooh. and I told you guys this before the podcast, but obviously, like, we're gonna talk about it now. In high school, I had a lot of guy friends, and I feel like that sounds like
You
I'm like,
hoe.
yeah, I'm like, I'm not. We just hung out with a lot of people, but I never like flirted with these guys. Like, it was just, to me, it was platonic.
Yeah.
Like, we're just like, it's cool, it's fine. And then when I graduated high school, like, I had several of them tell me that they had a crush on me at some point, or like they wished that like you said, like, oh, I wish you had given me a chance. And I was like, why did you just go there?
Yeah, because now the friendship is no more.
No.
Yeah, because now I feel awkward, and I feel like there's always going to be some motive behind it. Yeah, that's just
And
uncomfy.
at that point,
yeah, bye.
Cut off.
Friendship and ever having a chance with me. Like, you never had a chance, but now there's no friendship.
There's definitely
Congratulations.
nothing. Okay, so this one says, absolutely. I'm secure enough in my relationship, and so is my man. He's not threatened by other dudes. As long as the guy respects my relationship and I his, if he's in one, it's no biggie. I feel like it has a lot to do with age, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you and I are now in our 30s. Cross that line, you know.
And thriving.
So it's a little bit easier for us to communicate those feelings with other people.
Right. And there's like...
And I like that this is a different perspective because I'm single and you're married. Correct. So it's like, I feel like you can be single and be friends with another single guy. But I still think that there is that little underlining.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, you can be friends with people, but if you... like, if there's, like, an attraction, especially if you're single, and you're like, he's cute, and then he's showing you all, like, his good attributes, you're just like, maybe.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if there's...
And I feel like guys don't think that girls think that.
Oh,
like, think about those things.
Yeah,
for sure. We have also had those thoughts, but we're so much better at, like, compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
Whether or not, you know, that's even a possibility.
It's
a possibility. So you're saying there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance.
All right. This next one says, my husband and I both have friends of the opposite sex that are completely platonic. When you start turning to those friends instead of spouse for certain things, it becomes a problem, like attention and flirting. I can 100% say that my guy friends have zero other feelings for me.
Yeah. Because if you're not telling your spouse, like, different things that you're dealing with, but going to your
best friend.
Yeah, your best friend that happens to be a male, like, yeah, that's... But then again, I will say, like, I dated women my whole adulthood. And then I got with my now husband, you know, but there are, like, it's the same whenever you're dating women, you know? Like, if you have a girl that you're talking to, like... and you're not talking to your spouse who is also a girl, like, it can cross that line where you're like, are they flirting with me? You know, it can be the same way.
Yeah.
So you just have to be mature and make sure that you're not, like, emotionally cheating on your spouse too. Because that is also very much a thing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Wait, I almost think it's, like, way worse. Okay, so this one says 100%. I think if someone can't be friends with the opposite gender, they either have no respect for that gender in general, or they're so sex starved they'd hump a cactus. So, like, that's a very interesting metaphor, but okay. I don't know that I agree with, like, not having respect for the other gender. I don't know. That's an interesting one to me.
You can be like, fuck men.
Yeah.
Or fuck women.
I see both.
Yeah. Because if, like, a guy is, like, saying, like, no, I don't really respect women as my equal.
Yeah.
Then they could just be, like, just a dick.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other story in itself.
Right. Yeah.
We can have a whole podcast just about that.
Just about that. So this one says, I think as people mature, yes. One of my best friends is a guy. However, we respect our significant others and only hang out in public places. We do double dates most of the time. There's no texting late at night. We don't Snapchat each other, and it works.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
I still think it goes back to communication.
Yeah. And it helps whenever they have, like, you know, if you are friends with the guy.
Yeah.
And then they have a spouse. And then that just kind of...
You befriend that. Yeah.
Because I've had guys that were friends and, like, strictly platonic, you know, very much like that's... Like, I view them as brother, like family.
Yeah.
And then they would bring their spouse or girlfriend, whoever, around. And it's just like, oh, it's a good feeling. You know? Like, then there's really no like third wheeling it, you know?
No
But-
animosity, no
Right.
like weirdness.
Because not even like animosity towards like, oh, I wish they were mine.
Yeah.
You know, like it's more so like, oh, I'm lonely.
Mhm.
You know, like it can be like that too, but it's nice whenever you're going out as like double dates. I love double dates.
Yeah.
They're my fave.
I love that for you.
Me too.
Okay, so this next one says, of course, some of my closest friends are women. That closeness doesn't have to be romanticized. And I like that guys have, given their opinions too. I try to keep these little Sunday night debates to like view both sides.
Absolutely.
Because
It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to know like what guys think.
Yeah.
Or what they're thinking versus like, because we have our ways or
Yeah.
whatever. But
1000%. Because our views can be completely different because men can be very simplified.
Yeah.
So they don't think into things in depth that we can. And usually they're very surface level. If they want to do it, they do it. If not, they don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also think that comes with age too.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So this next one is kind of long, but it says, depends on how long they've known each other. Generally, I believe someone has feelings for the other, but sometimes lifelong friends are different. In a relationship, I don't want my man hanging out alone with any female. If his female friend is a real one, she would likely befriend me too.
Absolutely. Yep.
I agree with that.
100%. Because if he is friends with, these girls, like, to me, that's an opportunity to, like,
Have another friend.
Have another friend.
Yeah, that's
so
a girl.
I'm like, yeah. Like, and then if, he's like, hey, let's go out with his best friend's name's Morgan. So I'm like, hey, you want to go out with Morgan? Or, he will be like, let's go out with Morgan. I'll be like, okay, yeah, hell yeah. And so, like, to me, that's another friend that I can talk to. And, like, she was at our wedding and it's everything.
Yeah, it's not weird. And
and there's there can't be any weirdness because if immediately if I feel that it's weird,
if it's off,
I will catch that shit.
So this one says, yes, as long as there hasn't been any emotional or physical intimacy between them previously. If they dated or fucked before, absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, if they made out with them when they were 19, I don't give a shit.
Then
that's different.
Mhm.
But I mean, if they hooked up in mid-20s and you want to hang out with her still, nah, I'm gonna skip on that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip.
I'm like, think back to when you weren't married
Mm-hmm.
and like you had those situations pop up where you're like, there's a fine line and I feel like
Oh,
you're crossing
absolutely.
it,
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, before I was married, I was dating women.
Yeah.
So like there are definitely fine lines. And in the lesbian world, it can be very much like small, tight-knit, like there's some homie hopping definitely going on. But I mean, like that was just a given. And Dallas is a very big, small city.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, it was
It's
just
gonna-
very
it's
much
gonna
like that. It's going to
happen. It's gonna
happen.
come
But like,
across.
I was never the person that was like friends with my ex and like kept my ex in
Yeah.
like my close friend group, you know? I
Mhm.
never thought that should be a thing.
Me neither.
Like
feel
if I
it's
had,
weird.
if I had any sort of emotional connection to you, like I'm not going to bring you around still.
No.
You know what I mean? Like cut ties, let it go,
Let it
let it be.
I love this one. This one says no. This is coming from a single female. And I like that she like
Yeah.
initiated it. She said, when a male approaches me, I truly come in with an open mind to be friends only.
Mhm.
However, if the guy is married or not, even in those relationships, they have other intentions. It doesn't happen right away, but eventually they all try to shoot their shot. I think this is so interesting what she said. But I do think that a lot of guys will try to shoot their shot. And the problem is like, you think that it's platonic, you think that, we're all good.
And it's just
And then
like,
all of a sudden you like confide in this person and then they're like, oh, I'll be the shoulder.
it's honestly kind of like it gives me the ick.
Yeah.
Like you gave me an icky feeling now because like I confided in you. I've probably told you some like deep dark shit,
Mhm.
like so now you're telling me this and I'm like I cringe for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like and it just gives me the ick, man. Like why did you have to ruin our friendship now?
Somebody responded about that movie Harry and Sally. Harry Met Sally.
Uh-huh.
And I've never actually watched it. But I did like read like a little article about it and like what it talks about. Basically
Synopsis.
Yeah, I'm like, I need like some what is the word? Research. Because somebody mentioned it in one of the anonymous boxes. They're like, yeah, When Harry Met Sally. And I'm like, I've actually never seen that. So I'm going to read it to you. It says, the characters hook up in Sally's bed next to her stuffed animals after she finds out her ex-boyfriend is getting married. In the morning, it's really awkward between Harry and Sally. And I'm like, ooh.
Yikes.
Okay, I might have to go and like watch this, but I think that is so funny. I don't think I could do it.
Mm-mm. Well,
Just
and
like
it's just like also okay, like my best friend's wedding
Mhm.
with Julia Roberts. How she's like, she all of a sudden finds out that she is in love with her best friend.
Best
and she's
friend,
like,
yeah.
I have to break up this wedding.
Yeah.
And poor Cameron Diaz is just like this happy-go-lucky girl, and then in come Julia Roberts
And like ruins it
and
all.
ruins everything.
I
Yeah,
feel like
I
there's
could
several
not
movies
stand
like
that
this.
movie because of that. I'm
Yeah.
like, how dare her?
You are right.
Literally, you of all times, this is when you choose to tell him your feelings when he's about to get married.
Yeah.
No,
That's why I'm like,
makes me so mad.
I think, and we go back to the same thing, communication. Like,
Mhm.
if you're gonna have a girl best friend or whatever, like, I need to be included in this,
Yeah.
like, conversation.
Hello.
This person said, absolutely. I have a friend who's very attractive, but have no sexual feelings for her. I think the older we get, the easier it is.
Self-control.
Coming from a man,
I like that. Because he can appreciate the beauty,
but from far away.
but from far away.
Yeah,
Love that.
that was a good one.
Yeah.
And this one says, in some instances, like if you have a couple's friendship, then okay. But if it's a singular guy and girl friendship, one person is always going to have some sort of attraction for the other.
I'm always
That
going
was
to
actually
say
the last
people
one.
are valid in their feelings and how they feel towards a situation.
Yeah.
But it also goes back to like self-confidence too.
Mm.
Because if you're not confident, then you're going to be like, you know, a little snarky no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if that person is like, I don't even find them attractive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not my type or whatever. Because we
Mhm.
all have a type. Don't say that you don't. Like, I really do believe that, like, you can have, you know, a friend, but I don't know. There's so many levels to it, I feel
Yeah.
like, too.
Lots of layers.
Yeah.
What
But
were your like previous relationships like before?
have you ever cheated on someone? Because that
Mhm.
can definitely be brought up. Because, I mean, like, at this point of our lives, like, yeah, like, in my early 20s, like, I was a fuck up, you know? Like,
Mhm.
none of us were perfect.
No.
So you're definitely going to have some times that, you know, you may have fucked up and you grow. You grow from shit. I wasn't the same person that I was 5 years ago, you know?
I was actually going to ask you, obviously we're both millennials. So, did you ever have a MySpace page?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was MySpace world.
You know how they always talk about like your top 9, like the ranking or whatever. When you had MySpace, like, did you have guy friends up on there, or was it like kind of a little bit of both? And
I think it was a little bit of both, but that was so long ago.
yeah.
Like, I always had, like, whenever I had, like, my high school boyfriend, because out of high school, I strictly just dated women. And then my boyfriend that I had during, like, my freshman year,
Yeah.
him and I, like, matched, like, our MySpace names. It was so cringy. And then he was always my number 1, you know?
Did you move him down when you fought?
No. I was too, what's the word? Passive aggressive. I was like, no, I'm just not going to do it. But no, you're in the shitter. You suck. Or I would just take off the name and leave him as the number 1. But so he knew.
Oh my
I was
God,
serious.
that's great. That's funny. I'm so glad that like I was able to experience the MySpace phase, and then like
I'm glad we got the
Facebook
MySpace.
and, like,
we got the MySpace, but we got it like when we were in like high school.
yeah.
So, which I didn't think a lot of my friends that like in high school, of course, I was friends with them on MySpace, but like anyone else from my school, I wouldn't like send them friend requests. I would just be like, nah, I'm just leaving that away. And they couldn't view your page, right? So now, like, I look at Instagram and I'm like, and TikTok, I'm just like, oh, I would be terrified. I would be terrified if I was a teenager these days, because I feel like there's so many things that you can just like be obsessed with.
Yeah.
Makeup, people, you know, fandoms.
Yeah. And the internet is so weird now. Everything is like out
It's so
there.
cool, but it's so weird. Like, I've learned so much from literally TikTok. You know? Like, I go to TikTok University. But like, I've learned so much from TikTok, and like, but I also, can really cause you to have a lot of like self-image issues too.
Insecurities come up.
And then the Instagram For You page or the For You page on TikTok will be like, here are your insecurities.
Yes, literally.
I'm like, damn.
I feel like, wow,
The
you
For
really know what I'm
You
going
is for youing.
for.
It's terrifying.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I actually did, when I was like doing my research or whatever for today, I kind of wanted to like look it up, and then I was like, no, because then it's gonna come up later in my FYP and it's gonna stay there for a while, and I'm gonna be like, why did I search?
And then I'm gonna drown in this awful For You page.
God. Oh gosh. No, but I definitely think, like, going back to the main topic of today, I definitely think guys and girls can be friends if there's communication beforehand.
Yes.
On
Let me know.
Establishing,
let me know. But
let
like,
me know.
If it's all about communication, comprehending, trusting, respecting,
all of the above.
Yeah. Also, a little bit of self-confidence, because if you're just not self-confident and you see your partner have another, friend,
that's gonna mess you up.
Yeah, that's gonna mess you up a little bit, and then you're just gonna be like, go on your For You page, and it's gonna be like your partner's cheating.
Okay, well, let's talk about the self-confidence thing. Obviously, like, you've modeled for me for a few years now. So before you got married, did you do any modeling?
Absolutely.
And how were your relationships then? Like,
fine.
With that, like, was it ever an issue that you were looking for the camera? And like,
no, because that was a huge thing for me, that if you saw like what I do, like especially if you go on my Instagram, and that was kind of like how I met and like got with a few of my partners before. And plus, like, you can meet people on Instagram, whatever. But it was also very, very adamant that people knew going into the relationship like what I do. And I didn't get really big into boudoir until you and I started like really shooting. Like, sure, I would do like, nude poses and like nude things, but nothing on the scale of like boudoir.
Yeah.
So it was fine. And whenever I did it, like, my partners were fine. But sometimes there would be jealousy. Like, they would get to the point where they're like, well, I don't need to compliment you because you get it on the internet all the time. And I'm like,
wow, that's so interesting.
Well, I would like to hear from you.
From you, yeah.
But it doesn't take away like the validation, you know? Like, so now, like, my husband does shoots with me. So he's gotten into it. He did his first frontal nudity, our last photo shoot in Vegas, which was fantastic. I was having a great time with that.
It's so much fun.
We did. We had a lot of fun. I was just in the background, like, shooting, like, behind the photographers. I'm like,
all smiles, like, ear to ear.
Yeah. I was like, yes. And I would, like, block out his peen in my pictures. I'm like, oh. And he enjoyed himself too. It was good.
But I love that you were able to like transition into boudoir, and it wasn't like weird for you.
No,
and it wasn't.
Not at all.
But I mean, because we've touched on the subject before, model safety, and like when it comes to that, and I did want to cover that a little bit. So you tell me, like, from your past experiences with other photographers and like how they've approached you or like anything like that.
So I've done like starting off like, and before like boudoir was like a big thing.
Yeah,
because
now
years
it's
ago. Yeah,
huge.
like now, whenever I was really getting into like modeling, I went on to like Model Mayhem and like did a little portfolio, and all of the time, male photographers would just be like, "Send me pictures of like your naked body," and I'm like, "No, that's not how this goes." So like I've been approached in very like harsh ways, and of course they were probably just like spam accounts or whatever. But there have definitely been times where photographers have like made me feel uncomfortable, and then I just don't shoot with them again. And like now I appreciate shooting with women, and I love that I'm seeing way more women get into the photography business, and like, because I do feel like it was a very large male demographic, like early, like late 20-teens, and that was very much like the feeling I would get. They're like, oh yeah, I shoot with like strippers, and I'm like, I'm not a stripper. I appreciate them. Sex work is work, but I was like, I can't split like they can, So like they were telling me to go into these poses, and I'm like, I can't do that. I have not stretched, my dude.
Yeah.
In like 5 years. So like it was very much like I wasn't down with that. And
did you go to these shoots by yourself, or did you go with like
I would always have a friend come.
Okay.
At least one friend, or I would have like my friend that does like my makeup. She would come with me. But typically I kind of stopped shooting with people that I didn't know, like, if someone knew them or has shot with them.
Okay.
I need someone to, like, I want to see their work, like, or if someone is telling me, like, oh, yeah, you should shoot with them, they're a good friend of mine.
Okay.
That's kind of how I go about it now, because safety is number one.
Yeah.
And, like, you're also going to make sure, like, I always take Dante to shoots because, like, just having him there, he knows what to do. He's not going to be in the way, you know, and he's not going to be like, you shouldn't be wearing that. You know, like, he's not going to say anything.
Or like, take it off.
Yeah, literally. And he's not going to, like, you know, be gross or anything or making gross comments. So, like, he knows exactly how to act, you know. Thanks, babe. And he understands it. So whenever I do a photo shoot, if I have never shot with a person, or if someone that is, like, setting up, because I do, like, hair locks, like, I know them now. So, like, now I do photo shoots with them and I know them, so I feel comfortable going by myself.
Yeah.
But if I'm shooting with a new photographer that I've heard through the grapevine, like, I want to take him. Because, like, especially if I'm shooting naked or implied, like, I kind of want to just have someone there just in case. Just, like,
absolutely.
a peace of mind, honestly. So that's very much my biggest thing, is, like, making sure that I feel safe, especially if I'm doing boudoir, nude, implied stuff. Like, I'm exposing my whole body. So, like, at least the least you could do is let me have that safety net for me, you know? So that's really important.
Yeah,
for
I
me,
wanted
safety.
to cover that just because I feel like a lot of people that are coming into boudoir now, like, don't realize that that's such a crucial, like, other part of the business that they don't think about.
Yeah.
Like, like, if you were to put yourself in their shoes, you know, as the model yourself, like, are you gonna want somebody to, like, see you completely naked?
Right.
And, like, what if nobody else is there? Like, it's weird, you know?
Yeah.
And that's mainly why, like, I have not shot with dudes other than, like, Oscar.
Yeah.
And Anna's always been there.
Yeah.
And it's not weird.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, and I actually don't even think I have been, like, naked. Like, I've always worn lingerie or whatever, but you have to have that, like, trust. And if you've never shot with that person before, you know, like, it can get a little dicey.
Yeah, because, like, and it is, especially today's age, like, we are exposing our bodies, and there are a lot of creeps out there. You know what I mean? So, like, if I'm exposing my body, the least you could do is, like, make me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And, like, especially if it's someone, like, paying you for the first time and doing, like, you know, a maternity shoot or, like, a little spicy something for their husband. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to automatically feel comfortable, you know? So, like, let them bring a friend. Let them feel that comfort of, like, getting naked in front of the camera. Because it's not easy. Me, I can just strip down. I could strip down right now. But I won't. Instagram has policies. But, like, I am, like, very much an open person when it comes to my body. So, like, that took a lot of years, too, you know? So, like, that's a lot of years of being in front of the camera and being comfortable and being comfortable with your photographer.
Yeah.
So just let them be comfortable and let them do stuff that's going to, you know, ease them into it.
Yeah, so if you're a photographer watching this and you want to shoot with her, just so you know, Dante will be there.
He will be. Thank you.
He will be there.
Thank y'all.
No, but he's great.
Yeah, he is great.
And he's also great in front of the camera, which is awesome.
He's a great little model. He's so cute. I can't. Just know he looks really cute.
But anyways, I appreciate you coming on and talking about all of these things with me.
Thanks for having me.
You accepted
Boudoir and Beyond.
Yes. We're gonna have to do another episode soon.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Boudoir and Beyond. I hope you enjoyed this conversation and learned something new. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on social media. Our handles will be right up here. And as always, stay curious and keep exploring all your desires. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of Boudoir and Beyond.